Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Vaalmonica Yugioh deck profile for Post the Infinite Forbidden. We got some new awesome cards in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set to support the Pendulum style deck, being the Vaalmonican support in the form of the new Rare Vaalmonican Concord, the new Link 2 boss monster for the deck, and a brand new trap card that helps with supporting just consistency for going into our Link 1 Vaalmonica monsters as well. Giving us that setup definitely does help because we needed, counters to build up the Link summon beforehand, whether it be from burn damage or life gain for the deck using our two Vaalmonica Pendulum monsters. But we've gotten some pretty good support to make a wide variety of setup for the deck to be able to do all together. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Vaalmonica Pendulum monsters, we run 3 copies of Yugioh Vaalmonica. If this card's in your hand, you can discard one other card to take one Daimono Vaalmonica from your deck and place this card and that card in your Pendulum zones. During your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can banish one Vaalmonica normal spell or trap from your graveyard, apply whichever effect is on that card, includes gaining life points. You can only use each effect of Yugioh Vaalmonica once per turn. So this effect, basically with the normal spell or trap gain, applying whichever one includes gaining life, is the angel sort of theme that you're meant to do with Yugioh Vaalmonica. And in the Pendulum zone, each time you gain life points while you control a fiend monster card in your other Pendulum zone, place one resonance counter on this card, and when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one Vaalmonica Link monster, giving you access to either your Link 2 Vaalmonica monster or your Link 1 monsters that we run in the extra deck also. We also run 3 copies of Daimono Vaalmonica. With this card, each time you take effect damage while you control a fairy monster in your other Pendulum zone, you can place one resonance counter on this card. Monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack for each resonance counter on your field. And if this card's in your hand, you can discard another card to take Yugioh, being the opposite effect of Yugioh, to set up your Pendulum scales with both of these monsters. And during your main phase, if this card is normal or special summon, you can banish the Vaalmonica normal spell or trap to apply the includes taking damage effect on that spell or trap for that one also. So it's set up for both of the monsters in the deck. You have the Pendulum scale setup. Using both, you have the copy effect for our many different Vaalmonica spell or traps, allowing us to run the lower numbers for each, since we can just provide the effects with each of the monsters. And we also run 3 copies of Celatris Vaalmonica, that being the, the angel and devils on the shoulders for our main go-to spellcaster here. While you control a monster except Celatris Vaalmonica, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attack. And also, you can only use each effect of Celatris once per turn. If this card's normal or pendulum summon, you can add one Vaalmonica card from your deck to your hand, except for Celatris Vaalmonica. And if this card's sent to the graveyard, if you have 2 Vaalmonica cards in your pendulum zone, you can add this card to your hand. Being a spellcaster type monster with the, if sent to the graveyard, you can even just use it for a link summon, adding this card back to give you resources on the field for you to then add back to your hand as well. That's the play you use with the Link 1 Vaalmonica setup you can do, then just to add this card back and then pendulum summon it out again to keep your searching consistent. And I still like to run the small Perform Mage engine, the 1 Flame Eater, the 1 Hat Tricker, the 1 Trick Clown, and the 2 Damage Jugglers in the deck. They just help with the burn damage that the deck is meant to, provide for, giving you options for summoning out, other level 4 monsters to perform rank 4 Xyz summons or additional link plays with just how easy it is to special summon out the Perform Mage monsters while having burn damage effects for you to build up your counters also. And for the hand traps, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and 2 copies of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. We also run the Impermanence lineup in the deck, but we have these just for additional, effect damage options with Moonlit Chill to work with cards like Daimono as well for that setup. If you didn't want to run Ash Blossom, you could always try the additional Spooky Dogwood spot for the life gain play for your counters. It's just a personal choice there if you want to put it in or not. For the spells, I do want to run 3. I still have not found. This deck's been out for so long. I have to get a 3rd one eventually. Of Vaalmonica, the Agatha-Cological Voice. It's the field spell piano for the deck. When it's activated, you can add one Vaalmonica monster from your deck to your hand. If this card's in your Pendulum zone has a 3rd resonance counter placed on it, you can target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase, but cannot declare an attack. You can only use this effect of Vaalmonica Voice once per turn. You can only activate one effect per turn also, but you also have the option to search or then use that opponent's monster, because our Link 1 just has to be summoned out when we have 3 or more resonance counters on a fiend monster or on a fairy monster, and then we can use our opponent's monster that we take to make this monster, since, like I said, it just needs 1 effect monster to do so for that summon. I also run 3 copies of Vaalmonica Celta. Apply one of these effects unless you have a Vaalmonica card in your Pendulum Zone. Your opponent chooses the effect. So with this card, if you have it, you get to choose the effect, but you need to have the Pendulum Zone. Otherwise, your opponent gets to pick the effect. You gain 500 life points, then you can place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, then draw 2 cards. So it's the life point gain effect or the take damage effect, which is what the spell and trap share with all the Vaalmonica support. You take 500 damage, then you can add 1 Vaalmonica spell or trap from your deck to your hand, except for Celta. Search or draw. It's depending on what you want to use for burn damage or life point gain. We also run 2 copies of Vaalmonica Disharmonia. You place 1 resonance counter on 1 card in your Pendulum Zone that has option to place resonance counters on it, and then you can apply one of these effects. Gain 500 life points, then add 1 of your banished Vaalmonica cards to your hand, or you can take 500 damage and add 1 Vaalmonica card from your graveyard. So banish graveyard depends where you use for this spell, and don't forget you have your Vaalmonica Pendulum monsters to be able to also copy these effects also. I also have the 2 copies of Vaalmonica Invitaire. You apply one of these effects, special summon a Vaalmonica from your deck. Also for the rest of this turn, you cannot activate the effects of monsters in the field except for Vaalmonica monsters. And if you control a non-pendulum Vaalmonica monster, take 2 Vaalmonica pendulums with different names from your deck, add 1 to your hand, and add the other face up to your extra, giving you more resources because then you could use the one in your hand to set up the rest of your scale for your pendulum scale to be able to pendulum summon out the other Vaalmonica monster you set up face up in your extra deck. I also run 1 copy of Vaalmonica Versaire and Vaalmonica Intonaire for the one of options for these spells. They're good, just a little more specific with their effects. Having the life point gain for Versaire to excavate cards from the top of your deck until you excavate a Vaalmonica card, add to your hand, and take 500 to send a Vaalmonica card. So add or send, with Intonaire being more of a special summon for your opponent to special summon a card for your field, or add 1 from your graveyard to your hand. Add back or special summon power with each also. And then for some of the more generic spells, 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity, just so you can, grab into the more needed specific cards we run in the deck using this card. And also for the traps, I'm running 1 ofs for each of the traps. This is the new Vaalmonica creation. While you have 6 or more resonance counters on your field, Vaalmonica Link monsters you control gain 1200 attack. So having a 4200 potential Vaalmonica monster on the field is immensely strong, but also you can only use each of the following effects of Vaalmonica creation once per turn. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can accept during the damage step immediately after this effect resolves. Link summon 1 Vaalmonica Link monster. So being able to do this on your opponent's turn is another big part of this card, with the 1 copy of Vaalmonica Chosen Melody and the 1 Followed Rhythm for both of the Fiend and Fairy spells, where the life point gain destruction of a spell or trap on the field, or bouncing of a monster effect, or to negate the effects of a monster, or for the restriction of your opponent's monster effects also. And then lastly, for the hand traps, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Works well with the numbers, I would say, for the Moonlit Chill and the Ash Blossoms in the deck also. For the extra deck, for our Link monsters, we're running 2 copies of a rare Vaalmonica Concord. You need 2 monsters, including a Vaalmonica Link monster, so you can use one of your own, and then the monster you take from your opponent. Unaffected by the effects except Vaalmonica cards. While you have 6 or more resonance counters on your field, it gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase for each level 4 Vaalmonica monster you control. Once per turn, when your opponent would special summon a monster, if you have 3 or more resonance counters on your field, quick effect, you can negate the special summon and destroy that monster and remove 3 resonance counters on your field. So the more counters you built up, the stronger this card is in terms of attack, and also just being able to restrict your opponent from doing cards also. And 2 copies of Duraloom Vaalmonica Heathen Hallow for the Fairy monster, and 2 Hallow Heathen for the Fiend Link 1 monsters. Being able to summon these cards out when you have the resonance counters on your field, either on the Fiend monster or the Fairy monster to do so. You can only special summon them each once per turn, and if it's Link summon, you can target monsters your opponent control up to the number of resonance counters in your Pendulum Zone, destroy them, and then also with the option of the spell and traps with Hallow Heathen. More setup, but the fact that we have a trap that lets us do this on our opponent's turn means more board disruption when they're trying to make their own turns happen. I also run the 1 copy of Artemis Magistus Moon Maiden for an added extra play, whether it be with our Perform Mage monsters, Link 1, or our Celatrice to have the add back power of this card. The 1 Barricade 4 blocker, since we do run the field spells for, consistent recycle of them. The 1 Selene, Queen of Master Magistus, or Magicians, so we have more counter buildup to special summon a resource back into the field for us to use also. And then the 1 Borrelode Dragon. This could be access code, just so you have the Selene and Artemis. I just couldn't remember where I placed my access code for this spot. But for the Xyz monsters, 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, 1 Magister Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer, 1 Baguska, and 1 Abyss Dweller, with the final card being 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus to finish off the extra deck. And then as for some of the go-to plays, once again, counter buildup is a big part of the deck, but also just being able to use one of our Vaalmonica monsters to be able to discard another card. Not only can it set up a Vaalmonica spell in our graveyard for us to then, reuse with one of the Vaalmonica monsters we summon out for the copy of that effect, we use the discard to set up our Pendulum Scale, and then from there we can have the setup for a Pendulum Summon, or if we have our setup be in the form of Vaalmonica Invitere. If you control a non-Pendulum Vaalmonica monster, that could be the card you add off of your Cellatrice, because then you can use the effect of Cellatrice when it is normal summoned to then add a Vaalmonica card from your deck to your hand. You can activate Invitere. If you control a non-Pendulum Vaalmonica monster, take 2 with different names, add 1 to your hand, the other face up in the extra deck. Then you can set your Demono, having the discard still off of that play, to complete your Pendulum Scale, and then go for the Pendulum Summon of your additional Vaalmonica monster in the extra deck. Or you could even go for the Cellatrice first for the Link 1 play, giving you the option to summon out your Selene to the field, activating your Cellatrice since it was sent to the graveyard to add back. And then you can go for the Pendulum Summon with that monster. Just remember you're stuck out of the extra deck if you do so with this card, since the arrow is pointing up, but you'll still have your Pendulum 1 for the Cellatrice that you summoned off that Link as well, because then you'll have your Link 2 option to then be able to use both of those monsters in the field, including a Vaalmonica Link monster. So you have to have that Link monster, but you still have the Link 2 option and the Search play to be going into. The big play comes down to the burn damage you want to build up, because if you don't go for the Link play, you can always have the option for your Vaalmonica Pendulum monster to then be able to copy the effect of the Vaalmonica spell that you set up in the graveyard also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Like we said, we've gotten support throughout many of the newer packs for the Vaalmonica deck. It definitely is a fun take to use a Pendulum engine for more of a support for a Link-powered deck on top of your main deck non-Pendulum monster. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.